just say testing 1, 2, 3. Hey baby, okay, I think that I've been doing this the wrong way this whole time, where I was looking for the editing side, and I really am not sure if, well, it was only letting me record 5 minutes, and I'd be sitting here talking for like 45 minutes or more, and then I was like, yay, I finally did it. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm being who I want to be. Like, in this current moment, like, I want to be recording a podcast. I want to be talking. I want to be sharing my poetry and just having conversation about, like, what's going on in my life. And, like, just being able to talk it out and be able to be really transparent with, like, what it is that I'm struggling with, as well as, like, what I'm doing and what I'm learning from it, and where I'm trying to take my intentions to, and reminding myself, and just being very like proactive in my being, because I think that there's always more awareness you can have of yourself, and I think there's always more compassion and love that you can have for just the human that you are and the experiences you go through. And we often do, I mean, every single time we have a feeling, we're feeling it individually. And there's a lot of time I've spent in this world feeling like, not only me, but like other people, but like for me personally, like shame for feeling these emotions that I'm having, and just being washed away by them, and feeling like, oh, I can't even do anything to fix this or change or get any better, because legitimately this isn't even real. These emotions, you can't see them, you can't do anything except for explain them. And when I took my voice from myself, I took that tool out of the box, where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna talk about how I'm feeling, and I'm not going to feel shame about it. I'm not gonna blame anyone, but I am gonna take the time to be like, hey, like, this is how I'm feeling in this moment, and does it relate to something from the past that I felt deeply and wasn't able to really think about, and now I'm able to cognitively understand, and I am strong enough to be able to feel like what it is that I'm feeling. And I'm also able to just like recognize, oh my god, this is shameful, this is full of shame, as well as this really heavy emotion that I really don't like. I'm able to actually put them both together and think, oh, okay, I feel shameful for this, and then I'm also going to like allow it to be, even though it's embarrassing or shameful, like, or I feel guilty about it, or like, oh, I shouldn't be, or I shouldn't do this, like, it's just accepting it as it is and moving forward. Then I'm not circling about that shit. I'm not going around and around and around about how I feel this way, but I shouldn't feel this way, and it's not fair, or I should be, or I would be, or anything like that. Like, the shooting on is something I want to get past, but if I don't talk about it, and I'm not like, hey, yo, what's up? We all feel these. This is what life is the experience of being a human and feeling things deeply. And the more transparent I become with myself, the more transparent and vulnerable I feel like I'm able to become with people on the outside, and the more connection that I feel. Truly, the more love and connection I feel with people who are truly like able to bridge the space gap between us, human to human, and to be like, wow, I'm really in this room with this person, and this person gets it, and they get it in their own way, and they understand the depths of themselves, so that they can come up to me and be like, oh yeah, you'll make it through, you're good. And I love being able to spend time being there for myself, so that like I can be that reflection to somebody else. I can be like, oh hey, you will get through, you're gonna be okay, and know that, and like, know, hey, let me give you this word of encouragement that's like, I know when you're at the bottom, like you hit rock bottom of sorts. Like, people act like that doesn't happen all the time, but it's like, a rock bottom is going to be a different depth, and it's going to feel differently every time. And I find myself in this ocean of emotion often, and when I go down, like, I try to grab some sand just for like some, like, okay, I'm down here, dude, I got it, I'm gonna go back up, I know I am. And even though I feel thrashed back and forth from this happening, this scenario, the reality is, like, when I come up out of this, I'm gonna be okay. I'm going to understand this emotion more. It's gonna be out of my body, which is really good, because that's living inside of me. When I have this, like, need to cry or, like, release, or just, like, I feel this anger, or I feel this bad feeling, that, especially when it comes along with shame, I know that that's something that I've been holding on to, and that in this moment I have now this opportunity to be able to let it go. And just like that sand I was holding, most of it will probably go out of my hand on the way up, but, like, this is my choice to let go, to release, to let the tension go, and to know that that sand is still inside of me, right? It's gonna float down. It might take its time. It'll filter down, and it'll go back down to the bottom of the ocean, and I will have experienced it. I will have felt it. I will have been there. I will have been present with myself, with my love, this person that I am in, this person that I am, this person that deserves love. We all deserve love. And you know what? It sucks, but sometimes we go through times in our lives where it is so emotional, and it is so, like, a time of renewal and learning for you to realize that you are it. You are all that you need, and the more fluid you can be with your internal world, and the more you accept whatever it is. If you're like, wake up in the morning and you're like, I feel like this, you're like, oh, the empowerment that you have given yourself of saying how you feel, and not being like, I'm fine, I will go do this, blah blah blah. Like, no, just give yourself a freaking minute to be like, hey, how am I doing? And be like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this way. You don't have to change it, but, like, why not recognize the big pink yellow the big pink elephant in the room? Like, notice it and say, hey, what's up? And accept it. And you know what? I really think that most of the time in the world, you will be met by mirrors of yourself. And if people really irk you, ooh, something about you reminds, if something about them reminds something of you, and maybe it's kind of like a shadowy piece that you're not really willing to accept, but it is something that's like, ooh, it fires you up, and it's friction with you, right? This is also true with things that people that like you, or people you like, where you're like, oh yeah, they're so fucking awesome. I love that they're kind to people. Like, when I love somebody, I'm just like, bro, I love them because they're so nice. Hang on. And I wouldn't even say that it's like, oh, I love somebody because they're so nice. I'm like, I love somebody when they're full of integrity. I love somebody when they are strong-willed, and they're kind, and they're present, and they're real. They're authentic about what they are and who they are, and they're not trying to, they're not trying to be like, oh, I'm having a great day when they're having a shitty day. They're just like, yeah, I'm not having the best day, and they're able to, like, be transparent about that. And also, when people are like, oh yeah, I'm having a bad day, but then have gone in and been like, what is going on? And are willing to know themselves, the quench that it's like to be around most people. I saw somebody today, and I haven't seen her in a very long time, and we were sitting, and a lot in my life has changed, and I had to kind of come to myself and realize that this person wasn't there to judge me, and that I was fearful of seeing or being seen by a lot of people, because my life didn't go exactly how I thought it would go. Things changed, and I went towards love, and I listened to this internal being within me. I had God talking to me, and I listened to it, and I let myself really be. But in the journey, it's really hard to explain, and I feel the need to explain myself when I see people, especially people who I had been transparent with previously. Like I felt like I had to be stuck on this emotion or mind process that I was in before, or to go back to that person. Like they had to see the same me. And what I realized is like the journey is the change. Like if you go to somebody and you really love them, you don't see like, oh, they need to be the same person. They need to have the exact same body. They need to have the same opinions. They need to make the same amount of money or more. They need to be prettier or just as pretty. They need to have all these surface things that really, like, it's the river, it's gonna run. Sometimes it's gonna get wider and sometimes it's gonna become more narrow. Sometimes it's gonna be rockier and sometimes it's gonna be really, really full and not rocky at all. Sometimes there's gonna be fish in it and sometimes there's not. You know, like there's gonna be blocks, there's gonna be flows, and to honor each other first by honoring your journey, you will feel honored and you will feel this ease of honoring other people's journey because you're not tripping about if they're gonna honor yours, because not everyone is. Not everyone is gonna be there, but the beauty of it is that you, as you go, are spreading that idea. You are spreading that love. You are letting people know that they don't have to be judging themselves. They don't have to judge other people. And this creates a really unconditional foundation of love. So when I saw this woman, you know, I spent a little bit of time feeling like a little worried, like, man, is she gonna judge me for who I am? But then after a few minutes, I was able to compose myself and say, you know, this is what happened, which is explaining myself, but also I really do feel cared about by her, and I want her to be somebody that I can be open with, and I have been in the past, so I stepped into that sense of vulnerability again, and it was scary, but I was greeted by love, and her authenticity just shined through just like it always has. And she, you know, after we got done talking about the harder stuff and talking about the good stuff and just talking and just being present with each other, she was like, you know what, like, I've missed you so much. And it's like a cool drink of water for my soul to be able to be around you. And I kind of, when I think about it, it kind of makes me emotional because when somebody can reflect back your beauty at you, when you're able to be transparent and when you're able to be brave and vulnerable and willing to just know, like, I love me, so even if this person doesn't accept me, or even if this person used to accept me and doesn't like me anymore, even if this person does accept me, it is just a drop in the bucket. And I'm the bucket, and I'm the filler of the bucket, and I'm not relying on these drops to fill up my love cup. And if I do that, like, that's when I'm feeling empty. I'm like, oh my god, quench me, you guys, please. Like, oh my god. And it creates this, like, empty sense of need that you're like, fuck, like, I gotta explain myself. I gotta be better. I gotta be smarter. I gotta be thinner. I gotta look different. And it's like, no, it's just about your essence. It's just about who you are. It's about the way that you look at people in the eyes. It's about the way that you don't hide your flaws and that you really seem to accept them. It makes people feel comfortable. It makes people feel like they could be loved, like that there is a spot for them. Like you do have room for them. Hey, you are real. And you've been like awoken to the world as it is, you know, like right here, like you are here and you're seen. And man, I think if there's anything I could truly ask or hope for in another person. Like when I have taken care of myself and I feel like I'm listening to my soul and I feel like I am following what it is I want to do and doing the things that I enjoy doing and, really being there and giving a shit about how I feel, then I don't need anything from anybody else. And all I want is to be seen. And so that's where this work comes in, where it's like, find yourself, see yourself, so that you don't have to be fearful when you're in a room and scared that these other humans, truly other humans, will judge you. Because you decide the weight of that. You decide where that affects you, and if you take it personally, it's something that really you. What a cool way to look at your own reflection and see your own flaws. See the dust on the mirror and be like, oh shit, I could clean that. I probably do see that shadow in myself. To be able to actually know the person that you are, that's what I want to do. I want to know who I am, and I want to know that I can be fluid and that there really will never be a time of knowing who I am. There will never be a completion of this. This is a journey, and it is non-stop, and it is about forgiveness and moving forward and learning from the lessons that come your way and finding the pieces that are frictioning with you, the things that you're spinning about or you feel deep in your stomach and you're like, fuck, what do I do? What is this? Who am I? That you find the lesson in that. And you find that you can be in peace with the here now, and that you will have probably another day, and that if you don't quite know what to say yet, that's okay. You can just spend some time becoming in alignment and in peace with yourself. And it's worth it, because it gets that, it gets that fighting out of your stomach. It's you're okay, I'm addressing you and you and you and you. Those are all the different perspectives within yourself, and if you find yourself truly reflecting, you will find all of the different pieces of yourself, and you learn a little bit about emotion, and you can kind of be okay, this is the name for this emotion, and you can realize or recognize it when you feel it again. You also will recognize it in other people, and that is a gorgeous sense of connection for you to have in your life. I feel like I'm just kind of coming out of a self-isolation bit of time. I was really, really bogged down by what I thought other people might think, and also I think what I thought. I think it was really hard for me to come to peace with things not going exactly my way, and finding peace in the way that I go about my business or my personal life or my physical fitness journey or my confidence journey or where I'm expressing myself, or how much I'm painting, or what I'm writing, or if I'm willing to share my writing, if I'm willing to write the writing. Am I willing to even read my own writing? It's been a journey, and I'm just keep thinking about how I was really nailed down on thinking that I needed to be better. in all aspects. I just needed to be better. I just needed to find like myself healing and journeying, being in my highest. And in this like low, as I come up and I go back and I feel it, I witness it. I feel it, but I also witness it. I see that learning and growing is not linear. It's not linear. It's gonna have its ups and its downs. And that's the work. And for that, I'm really, really proud of you. I think it's amazing what you're doing. And I think it's really, really special. And I think it's an investment for yourself into the future and into every single other relationship you ever have, to spend that time going, what are you feeling? How are you doing? How can I honor you? How can I honor myself? How can I come about this in love? What is my intention? Now, how can I go about that? And when my intentions stay strong and I have faith in the future, somebody was talking to me the other day and they were like, oh yeah, I'm more of like a pessimist, but my husband is an optimist, so it's good for me, you know, like it's something I wanted. And I was like, oh yeah. And she's like, what about you? And I said, I think I'm kind of a futurist. And she looked at me and she was like, what? I don't think I've ever heard that. And I was like, I don't know, I just kind of believe in the future. I'm a futurist. I have faith in it. And I know that there are good things and there are bad things. There are light things and there are shadows everywhere we go. That is the duality of life, of emotion, of beauty, of existence. You are going to have this duality. And so when you know, like, oh, I'm fucking living a good life, I'm doing great, know that duality, you're probably gonna feel equally that bad. And also, when you're feeling like shit, and you're like, oh my god, I have not hit a low like this is rough. You can have the foresight, the faith, the futurism, I don't think that's a word, but you can have the faith that the future, you're going to equally feel that good. Or that love, or that, you know, the opposites. And so we can focus on the good or the bad. You can decide, you know, like what those things come up. I am like a pessimist by nature. By nurture, I try to be a positive thinker. I went through a spell of time recently where I saw a lot of people in my life that I really, really loved struggling, and I felt really, really guilty for feeling better, for not being in a depressive episode, for not hurting, and I don't know, I wanted to make them be able to feel better, and looking back, like, staying with who I was and being willing to be happy and to love myself and to show them that they could do that too by living, by being my authentic self and not having this judgment upon myself that I should be something different, then I kind of lost it, and I kind of started doing the negative thing where I was like, yeah, like, it does suck. And I stopped looking for every beauty thing inside of everything that was beautiful inside of what I saw, and I was like, yeah, I could give some attention to the pieces that were shitty, and that reflects back into the world that you live in, your own reality. And I had talked to my therapist, and I was like, I don't know what to do about this. I feel like, you know, like I feel terrible. I see so much hurt and so much sadness in these people that I love. And I had a dream that I lost all my teeth before I went and saw somebody that I love so much that I knew was struggling. And I didn't know how to be there, how to be present. That's what I needed, was to be present and just to be like, hey, you're not alone. And I know in my darkest, like, I just needed somebody to just remind me that I'm alive and I'm okay. And I missed that point. And I went down into the bottom of the ocean again. And I was not even in my own sorrow, but I was in this empathetic sorrow of just like hurt and like fear and not faithful and not looking towards the future and not looking at the positivity. I was just scared because it meant a lot to me. And my therapist said, you know what, there's a story about having two wolves, two dogs is what she said. I've listened to this on YouTube also recently, which reminded me like, oh my god, like, okay, this really means something. And I like hearing stories like this, like, teach me things. And this is a Native American tale, and basically she told me in the short that there are two dogs and they're gonna fight. One is the positive side and one is the negative side, right? The duality, the yin and the yang, the shadows and the light. There are two sides to everything. Do you know which dog is gonna win? And I sat there and I was like, I don't know. And she said, the dog that you feed will win. And it's taken me this lesson coming back around, which is such a beautiful story and lesson. It's taken me a little bit less time to accept that, but it is like, bro, yeah. And it doesn't help anybody. Even if you feel bad for them and you don't know what to do, it doesn't help them for you to get into the pit with them. It doesn't help them to feed the negative dog and be like, but I just kind of felt guilty for being able to see the beauty in the darkness. But that's who I am. That's who I genuinely am. Like, I will find the beauty in the darkness. I will find the piece of glitter in the shit, because I think life is beautiful. And I think that the duality makes it so wonderful and special. And I think that if we are willing to embrace what is, it will come. Your dreams and your hopes, like your intentionality will come through, but not if you are just A, feeding the negative, and B, not willing to show up to see what's around you. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just think like, man, I feel shitty about everybody feeling shitty. The world is going to shit. Like, no, it's not. It sucks sometimes, and we are all going to have our dips, but like, be present and be there and be less worried about what or how you can change somebody else's world. You can just be an experience for them, and you could be a positive or a negative. You can be feeding their positive or negative. Like, it's like, you do have a sense of emotional contagion that comes with you in your emotions. Like, all of the emotions I think we have are pretty contagious, and that's why, like, you feel a certain way when you come around a person. And when you spend the time taking care of your space, your emotion, your love, yourself, feeding that dog that says, you know what, I think that if it's not today, it might be another day. If it's not right now, it could be another time. And accepting whatever is right now, because it is. And there is beauty to it. And even if it's dark, and even if it sucks, and even if it feels like at the lowest point, like, you can grab your sand at the bottom, and you can feel that it's there, and you can feel that you're there, and then when you are ready, you let go, and you will find yourself again. You'll find your inner light. It's always in there. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's like what I'm letting go of right now, is just, I mean, it was a few months, it got into my head where I was like, fuck, I really need to be something else. And it's not because I wanted to be something else from me. It was because I wanted to be something else for someone else. For all of these other people and all of these other situations that really weren't mine to... They weren't mine to judge, and they weren't mine to fix, and it wasn't my story. And now I feel like I can see a big enough picture, and I keep thinking, like, you know what, like, zoom out and see that this is this person's journey, just like you are in your own journey. You are born, and you will live, and you will be 20, and you will be 30, or you will live this week, and you will live that week, and you'll have this experience and that experience, and that you will be in your journey, and that you ultimately are other characters in another person's life. You will never fix anyone. You will never change anyone. You may teach them, but not because you're trying to control them. You'll only teach them when you let them to feel safe enough to learn. And you create that safety, and you create that space within yourself. You create that safety, and you create that space within yourself. And that's really beautiful. It's magic, you know? That intentionality, that faith, and the belief within yourself, and you add some love in there. Go out in the sunlight. You can be whatever you want to be. Literally anything you want to be. Whenever I think, oh, I want to do this, and I have a doubt in my mind, I'm like, okay, wait, can another human do this? Has another human, like, done this? And when I think, like, yeah, then I go, I'm going to be a painter by painting. I will be who I want to be by acting like it. If I want to be kind, I will be kind, right? And it's like, you at any moment can change who it is you want to be, just simply by acting like them and becoming them. And it's very fun in the hobby sense of the way of the world, is because, like, you don't know what you're gonna be good at. And if there's something inside of you that sparks a little light, like, breathe into that and let it be alive for a minute, because there's probably a reason that you came across it. And if you want to, anything you want to be, like, another human can be it, there's no reason you can't. The only thing that is likely stopping you or putting something into a can't or a box that you're putting yourself into is, like, when you compare yourself to others. And when I say, can another human do it, I'm not saying, like, oh, can I do it better than another human? I'm just saying, is it possible for a human to do it? Sure, why can't I? And then I let go of the expectation. I'm not trying to be the number one guy. I'm my number one guy. And if I'm enjoying it, bro, what's wrong with that? Like, when I started painting, I was like, you know what? I will be a shitty painter. And honestly, after you paint for a while, like, you start kind of picking up on stuff, and you kind of, I'm like, you know what? I'm an okay painter. But even then, I'm putting labels on myself. And then I have this pressure that I'm like, ah, shit, dude. I don't know how I painted that. I was in the zone. That painted itself. This isn't me. What the fuck? I have to compare myself with this last success that I have. And I think that's really hard for artists specifically to get through, is like, you have made art. You've gotten into that vibe. And if you're not like, okay, I'm willing to be a failure. I'm willing to fail this again and again and again, just so that maybe I get something good out of it. Like, maybe I get the experience, or maybe I do end up with a cool product. It's like, I remember being like, I'll have 10 paintings, and if I only like one of them, bro, that's worth it to me. So right now, I have a big dream that I'm working on, and it's having a published poem book. And that dream is really, really important to me. It is like my childhood. My little kid inside of me is like, I want to be an author. I want to be an author. And for a long time, I've been like, no, no, that's not really for me. Like, sure, that was a dream of a child, and it's not really, like, really for me or whatever. And then I have to check in with myself in the reality check and be like, yo, have other people done it? Yes, other people have done it. Lots and lots and lots and lots of people have written books. Does it have to be the best book in the world? No. Could it just be a book that I wrote? Yeah. And would I feel proud of myself? Yeah. And I would feel like I showed up. And I was like, damn, like, dude, I showed up for myself today. I became who I wanted to be. Just a little bit. Just a little dip in the pool. I wrote. And I became a writer. Just every day by writing. And some of it, I think, is really, really magical. And an experience that maybe me and the people closest to me will experience. But the fact that I got to experience myself in this expression, it made life rich. It made life really, really cool. And I think a lot of people look for that experience of themselves within having children and being like, oh, this is half me. And it gives like this maybe sway in reality where it's like, that kid isn't you. They're not going to be everything that you want. They're just going to be them. They share your DNA and they probably have a lot of things in common, or maybe characteristics in common, but they're on their own journey and you just brought them. You just gave them your little portal and allowed them to be cared for and loved and given nutrition and safety and everything that this little being needed. And then after that, you just gotta accept them for who they are. And I feel like when I make art, that's what I'm doing. I'm taking this idea, I'm taking this intention, and it's just like inside of me, and I just like, and when I give it that time and I make it, it's like I'm making a baby. And I'm like, oh, that's what my baby looks like. Like, why? Why do I paint jellyfish? Why do I paint people? Why do I paint what I paint? Like, what is it about this expression that feels so connecting and touching? You know what I mean? Like, when you follow your passion, you will find that. And you don't need anybody, and you don't need to make anybody, and you don't need anything else. You just need to listen to that voice inside and follow it. It's your heart, it's your dharma, it's your path. And without any explanation to anybody else, with a purity of being honored and being honorable, you become who you're supposed to be. You become everything you want to be. You become you. And I think that we don't do that because we're scared of being seen. We're really scared of, what if I get made fun of? Or what if it gets taken away somehow, this thing that's so important to me? I would rather just not experience it than experience it for a little bit and have it taken away. And that's something to reflect on for me. And it's not something I'm good at yet, but it is something that I recognize that I want to practice on. And I bid you good luck in your practice. I bid you my love. And I really hope that practice is fulfilling and rich for you, because you deserve that richness. You deserve the passion to be followed. You deserve to feel what it feels like to be in alignment and to be solely in love, unconditionally in love. And I encourage you to take that ride, to take that risk, to be willing to be seen. Because when you are willing to be seen, the people who will love you will finally be able to find you. And when you're willing to be seen, you create this safe space of love where you will attract those people, and you will find people that you love because of that. And to share this experience, to be able to really relish in the aromas and taste of life, I think that's what makes this place so special. I think it's what makes the sun on your skin really so good. And I think that's it for me today. I love you, and I'm proud of you, and you are worthy of every bit that you can dream of. You are worthy of your dream life, and I believe that you'll have it someday. I believe that you will be doing the dishes one day, and you will look up, you'll be doing something mindless like the dishes. You might be gardening, you may be sitting on your chair. I don't know where you're going to be, but you're going to look up, and you're going to look around, and you're going to notice that you are everything and everywhere you always wanted to be. And it's going to happen like that, where you don't even notice. You're going to, piece by piece, with intention, put your life together to be your most favorite version of it. And when you show up, you'll arrive and you'll be like, oh, this is it. This is what I wanted. Here. And I want you to enjoy that. I want you to take that moment and breathe for a second and allow oxygen to enter your body to the depths of your stomach, and you allow it to be released, and you breathe in everything that you are, and you breathe out everything that you're not. And you find pureness. And you arrive. And you are in alignment. And peace is within you. And you find peace within the world, and you spread peace to the world. And that is magic. That is the beauty. That is yummy. Yeah. So, that's it. That's it for me today.